I'm Laura.
I'm Spencer.
And we're Married with Board Games. It's the late 19 teens, and the world is watching as the greatest military conflict it has ever seen unfold.
Soldiers on the front lines experience horrors and trials every single day, but thankfully, they have each other to provide support, company, and encouragement to help them get through those trials.
In The Grizzled, your friends and you play just that. Soldiers trying to survive trench warfare in the First World War.
So how does The Grizzled play out? Let's take a look.
The Grizzled is a cooperative card game for 2 to 5 players, published by Cool Mini or Not Games, designed by Fabian Raffo and Juan Rodriguez, with artwork by Tignis.
Now, as you can see, it's a small game, right? It's a small box, so there's not a whole lot of components to it, but that doesn't mean that there's not a whole lot to the game. So first we have here character cards with the different soldiers that you can play as, like Gaston Vaillard, they're all hard to pronounce, Felix Moreau, and so on and so forth. And each soldier has a lucky charm here that can help your soldiers in the game, and then on the other side is a version of the card that shows that the lucky charm has been played. And then also you have a deck of what's called trial cards. Each card has a certain kind of trial, 1, 2, sometimes 3, and they represent something. Like the bullet represents a mortar shell, then you have it snow. So not only is a mortar shell coming, but there is snow happening. Here it's nighttime and a whistle. The whistle represents an assault is coming. It's snow and a whistle. As you can see, there are many different variations of these cards, all with this great artwork. And then sometimes you may come across what's called a hard knocks card like this. And that actually has to be played on a particular person. And you have an effect that remains in play unless it's removed, like the tyrannical card. Take the mission leader role and keep it, preventing the distribution of speeches. Then there are some coffee tokens. So they're actually called support tokens. And on one side it's a coffee cup. On the other side are various forms of arrows that represent which way you are moving those support tokens. Then there's the mission leader token here that you're going to pass between each round that shows who's in charge of the mission for that round. You've got your speech tokens that help you out during the game. And then a game aid that's very handy, tells you all the steps of a mission and handy little information on there. And don't forget the rule book. Alright, so during the game you're going to be playing through several different missions, and each mission is going to have a different mission leader, which is denoted by this cool little mission leader token. The mission leader is going to select how many trial cards each person gets. In theory, the more trial cards you get, the better, because you want to get through the trial card deck, but also that's more trials that you have to get through.
Because to successfully complete a mission, you have to get rid of all of the cards in your hand.
That's correct, which is very difficult. In order to win, actually, there are 2 piles here. This one has the dove on it, meaning peace. And what you want to do is get through all of these trial cards here, and when the dove shows, you win the game. But because of what happens in the game, if you have any cards left over in your hand at the end of a mission, you have to take that many cards from this pile over here and move it to the pile over here. And because of that, this monument will show, and if that shows, the game is over and you lose. And throughout the game, there are some other effects like the support tokens. At the end of each mission, you will transfer these to players who you have secretly chosen. Those will help them get rid of those hard knocks cards I was showing you earlier. There are also these speech tokens that you can use to help players get rid of trials in their hands.
Because when you make a speech, you get to name a threat, and all of the players at the table, except for the person making the speech, removes, is it 1 card or all the cards in their hand of that threat? Mm-hmm. But just think, if you say the wrong threat and nobody has that, you just wasted your speech.
Wasted your speech.
Because you don't get to make another one.
There are lots of different choices to be made. Do I get rid of this card? Do I back out of the mission? Lots of things going on. A lot of the decisions you have to make. It's not like a normal cooperative game where you can talk amongst yourselves.
That is a big thing that I trust that anybody else that plays this game will abide by those rules. You are not supposed to discuss with your teammates the cards that are in your hand or a card you're thinking about playing. And I think that's what adds an element to the game of making it that difficult but fun, of I can't tell you that I've got 2 cards in my hand that are snow, and there are already 2 cards out there in No Man's Land that have snow, because if you get 3 of any type of threat of the gas masks, mortar shell, whistle, snow, rain, or night, if you get 3 of any of the same card out there, your mission has failed.
There's several different ways you can get rid of trials, but the ultimate goal is to go through those trials, get rid of them, and find the dove. All right, so let's talk about what we think of the game. I'll start with artwork. Now, as we mentioned, the artwork is by Tignis. Now, if you didn't know, he was an artist that was killed in the Charlie Hebdo attacks, and unfortunately it was a great loss to the art community. But I love this artwork. How do you feel about it?
I'm a big fan of it. I really like what they've done of capturing soldiers in World War I, trench warfare, what they looked like with that period in the late 19-teens as far as like the facial hair fashions, because there are some of these characters, I think most of them actually have some pretty sweet mustache action going on.
Now the artwork is so great, they were actually nominated for a Dice Tower Award. Didn't win, but still to be nominated amongst all the hundreds of games that come out each year, I think that's a great honor. Component quality, the cards, they're average cards. I mean, there's nothing special about them, but they're not bad, so they're still good quality. Each of the cardboard components, like these tokens,
they're real nice and thick. They're
really, very thick, punched out very easily. Didn't have any problems with any of that peeling off, so that was really good. And overall, the components, I think the game's going to hold up for a good while because it was made very well. So let's talk about gameplay. Let me get this out and say, this game's hard.
Yes.
We've played twice, and we did not win either time. But that's not to say that that's a bad thing. It's a challenge that we want to overcome each time we play, and it has us itching to play it again so that we can beat it.
But just the experience of the gameplay is what is so enjoyable and so much fun. It makes us want to come back for more.
Bottom line, The Grizzled is a great experience to share with your spouse and your friends. Winning and losing together as a team as a result of individual actions definitely creates a fun and interesting dynamic.
Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any questions, feel free to tweet us at MarriedWithBG. We're going to box this one up for now. Catch you next time.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.